Hi, my name's Katerina Rivera, and this is my final digital recording for social work interviewing skills class. Um, excuse me. For the first question, what are the basic concepts of social work interviewing? I think that the basic concepts of that is basically getting to know your client. When you first meet them, you give that first impression, and I think that that first impression means so much because you have to help gain their trust giving that first impression, because if you don't have trust, then you don't have a client. There's no way that you can help somebody who doesn't trust you. And these people have obviously already been through so much that they're coming to you for help, that you really have to give them that great first, I really care about why you're here and I really want to help you impression. So, excuse me. So, for the second question, the different stages of the social work practice. Um, the first one is the engagement and preparation stage, which is basically your first meet with your client and you basically get their story as to why they're there, and you find out what's going on, and then you make a long and goal run, a long term goal for them. And it has to be a mutually agreed upon goal, because if it's something that the client doesn't feel that they can do but you feel that they can do, then they're never going to be able to accomplish it. They're going to be feeling like, why did I even come here? This isn't going to help me. And you basically want to steer them away from that. So it has to be something that you and the client feel that they can do, that you guys can do together. The next stage is the assessment, planning, and contracting stage. And this is basically your second meet. And this is where you find out how the client's been doing. You find out how they've been taking, the goals that you've been setting for them. If they're feeling a little overwhelmed, then the best thing I feel that you should do is to break down those goals into, tiny little steps. So they're not like, oh my God, I can't do this. What am I going to do? Why did I come here? It's never going to work. So if you're dealing with somebody that's like a drug addict, then what you can do is say, first work on this, getting, if the end goal is obviously going to be for them to get clean and sober, first you want to say, well, first, how about you, stop using for today, and then, tomorrow, stop using for tomorrow. And you just break it down to where it's just little baby steps that they can actually accomplish. And explain to them that everything doesn't have to happen overnight. It's just, what you want in the long run. You have to take baby steps to get there, so that they feel more comfortable with everything that they're trying to accomplish. So next would be the intervention stage, and this is basically where you redefine the sense of self. So if the client is doing really good, also, you can renegotiate the contract. So say you're meeting that client, twice a week, every week for a month. You can, if you feel that they're doing good enough, maybe you could, make it to where you're only meeting them like once a week for, every month, or, every other week for a month, or whatever. Just so that, they know that they're doing good, that they don't have to see you as much. And then, for you, that they're doing good, that you feel that they can handle more on their own. So, excuse me. So, lastly would be the termination stage. And this is basically where you evaluate all the hard work that the client has done, and you feel that you no longer need to see them. So, you should congratulate the client when you get to this stage, let them understand what great accomplishments they have come from, that they have achieved. Kind of exaggerate things to make them feel better about themselves, to make a point that, you really did do great during this process, and I want you to know that. So those would be the different stages. For the next question, for today's society, I think that social workers play a lot of different roles in today's society. For me, the biggest one is to help drug addicts and alcoholics. I think that drug use is really high lately, and I feel that to help drug addicts is a huge thing. It's a huge way to to get that individual clean. So that's what I think that today's society is as far as social working. Um, I also think that for the next question, a good social worker should want their client to focus on getting them better first. Like obviously, you want the client to do good and you want them to establish relationships, but for me, the biggest thing is for them to focus on themselves first, because you can't build a relationship if you don't have one with yourself first. Like I feel like a drug addict that's coming, to you to get clean, I don't think that they should rush into getting in a relationship with somebody, like a physical relationship. I think that it would be best for them to focus on themselves. Obviously, you want them to build those support systems throughout it, which is great. I think that friendships are great, but I think that you slowly get into that stage for them. But you want them to obviously get rid of the friends that they had before that, when they came to you in the first place, because they're obviously no good for that client. But building a support system is an amazing thing, and I think that a great social worker would want their client to do that after they got themselves fixed first. So then for the next question, I think that a good social worker, in order to be a good social worker, you have to have great listening skills. Some ways that you can do that is basically asking them open-ended questions. Instead of getting those, yes or no answers, it's great that you give them open-ended questions, because it's not only helping, the client express themselves, but it's really helping the social worker. You're understanding where their head's at in the whole thing. You're understanding, where they're coming from, how they're feeling. And it helps the client because it helps them express themselves more to you, and you really understand, this is what they're going through and how you can help them get better. So I think that, to have great listening skills, you definitely have to have open-ended questions for your client. And then also by reiterating what the client says in their responses and to the answers is also a great thing to do. Because by doing that, you're letting the client know, wow, she's really listening to me, or he's really listening to me. They clearly are repeating what I'm just saying, so they took it in, they understood what I'm saying. So I think that that's a great thing as well. And then for a social worker, how do they express empathy? I think that by having great listening skills is definitely a good thing. By expressing to them that, their success means the world to you, and that, how far they've come means so much to you. And I think that those are great ways of expressing empathy, saying things like, I understand what you're going through, or be accepting in the face of failure. Those are things that you're really empathizing with them. Hey, I know it's hard. I know that it's complicated to go through this journey, but I'm here and I'm trying to help you. I think that's a great way to express your empathy towards your client. So I think that that's all the questions, and thank you for a great class, and that's all.